Today was the 7th day after Mark's funeral. The house was too big, too quiet. Liam paused in the middle of the room, looked around, and then called out softly, "Hannah." Hannah turned her head. She tried to force a smile, but her eyes were still red. "Good morning, honey. Did you sleep well?" Liam just nodded slightly. The two were silent for a long time. Only the sound of falling rain interrupted the unfinished conversation. Finally, Liam timidly asked, "Dad is really not coming back, right?" Hannah choked. She stood up, walked closer to Liam, and sat down at his eye level. Her hands gently held his. "Yes, but Dad will always be here." She placed her hand on Liam's chest, where his heart was beating wildly. "And me too. I will always be with you." Liam bowed his head, tears silently rolling down. He didn't say another word, just threw himself into Hannah's arms and hugged her tightly. It was the first hug since their father died, a shaky, painful hug, but also the beginning of a wordless connection. That summer passed slowly. Hannah and Liam gradually learned to adapt to life as just the two of them. Every morning, Hannah prepared breakfast and drove Liam to school. The neat lunchboxes, the gentle reminders before he got out of the car, all filled with care. At night, they ate together in silence. At first, Liam kept his distance. He would just give curt answers or bury his head in his phone. Hannah understood, so she didn't force him. Instead, she patiently stayed by his side, leaving the door open for Liam to come in whenever he was ready. And then, one day, as Hannah was busy washing dishes, Liam suddenly approached. "Do you want to see Toy Story?" he asked, not daring to look straight. Hannah paused, surprised but also happy. She wiped her hands and smiled. "Of course, thanks for asking me." That night, they sat on the sofa together, sharing a bowl of popcorn, laughing and crying together when the movie ended. It was the first time in months that real laughter rang out in the house. The years passed like a quiet stream of water flowing through the small stream behind the house. Liam gradually entered his teenage years. He changed every day, taller, deeper voice, and sometimes more irritable. The slamming of doors, the curt words, all were signs of adolescence. Hannah understood that. She did not blame him. Even though her heart sometimes sank because of Liam's distance, she was still patient. Every day, she prepared a hot dinner, still reminded him about his homework, about sleeping. On the outside, she was Hannah, his stepmother. But in her heart, Liam was always my son. One evening in early autumn, when the yellow leaves began to fall all over the path in front of the house, Liam suddenly stopped in front of the kitchen door, where Hannah was cleaning. The yellow light covered his face, now more angular, no longer the innocent child he once was. "Hannah," his voice was hesitant, a little shy. Hannah looked up, brushing her hair behind her ear. "What's wrong?" Liam swallowed, then said quickly, "Thank you for everything you've done for me. I know I'm not always easygoing, but I'm really grateful." That sentence made Hannah stand still. Her heart clenched with emotion. For so many years, even though she always tried to act like she didn't expect it, she still secretly hoped that one day Liam would open up like that. She smiled, her eyes sparkling. "Thank you, Liam. I'm so proud of you too." Liam scratched his head, looking embarrassed, but his eyes were warm and sincere. The days continued to pass. Liam entered his senior year of high school, the time marking his official adulthood. Intense study sessions, long SAT nights, college plans. Liam's life suddenly became busier than ever. But despite his busy schedule, he never forgot to have dinner with Hannah. He even took the initiative to help her cook, wash the dishes, or sit and watch her favorite cooking shows. One night, after dinner, the two of them sat on the back porch. The sky was full of stars. The cool breeze carried the smell of pine and newly cut grass. Liam suddenly asked, "Hannah, have you ever thought about dating again?" The question made Hannah pause. She put the hot cup of tea on the table, her eyes looking into space. "Dating?" She smiled lightly, a little confused. It's been a long time, she hasn't thought about it. "Why?" Liam tilted his head. "You're still young, you can find someone. Hannah was silent for a long time. Then she said honestly. Maybe partly because she was used to this life. Partly because she used to have an inferiority complex. She was not the attractive type of woman. Liam frowned. He looked at Hannah, the woman who was always gentle, always thoughtful, the one who had devoted her youth to him. He suddenly realized that she was dressed too simply. Loose jeans and a half-sleeved t-shirt. Always trying to hide her somewhat full figure. He said, without any hesitation. No, you have a very nice figure. Hannah, I think you should wear something a little tighter. Especially, your bust. It looks very nice. You shouldn't be self-conscious. The unexpected compliment made Hannah blush. She laughed, a little embarrassed. Do you really think so? Really, you should be more confident. Liam affirmed, his voice sincere. At that moment, for the first time in many years, Hannah felt her heart flutter. Not because she was thinking about a new love, but because she realized she could still feel the joy of life. And that came from the very boy she had worried she would never be close to. The last days of winter gradually gave way to the gentle colors of spring. Willow Creek woke up from its long slumber. The branches began to sprout. And in the sky, the swallows chirped, signaling a new beginning. In the bright kitchen, Hannah was preparing breakfast as usual. She quickly arranged waffles on a plate, drizzled syrup, and added some fresh berries on top. This habit had followed her all these years, ever since she became Liam's mother. Liam walked in, his hair disheveled and his hoodie worn. But there was something different about him this morning. Liam's eyes followed Hannah's every move. Longer than usual. He sat down, propped his chin on his hand, and hesitated. Hannah, have you ever thought about the past years? Hannah paused, a little surprised by the question. She turned around, smiling gently. What do you mean? Liam let out a breath. His voice lowered. I mean, you spent your entire youth taking care of me. No dating, no living for yourself. Have you ever felt regretful? Hannah was silent. That seemingly innocent question touched the depths of her heart. But then, she just shook her head slightly. No, if I had to choose again, I would still do the same. You know, Liam, I see you as my own son. Liam pursed his lips, his emotions rising. He didn't answer right away. Just bowed his head and ate breakfast silently. But in his heart, that thought kept lingering, about Hannah's sacrifice. About how she deserved to live for herself, not just exist for others. In the following days, Liam began to pay more attention to his stepmother. He realized that Hannah always chose loose-fitting clothes, simple to the point of being a bit sloppy. In the eyes of others, she may look neat, but Liam knows, that's how Hannah hides herself. He remembers the times his friends commented on her. Your mom always dresses like a primary school teacher. Nothing special. At first, Liam didn't care, but now, when he understands more, he suddenly feels sorry for her. Hannah is still young. She can be more beautiful, more confident, if she wants to. And then, the opportunity comes at the weekend, when Hannah announces. This weekend she has a meeting with her old colleagues. Maybe she will attend. Liam immediately jumps up from his chair, excited. Great, you need to choose a really nice outfit. I think you should try something different. Hannah is surprised. Different? What do you mean? Liam shrugs, smiling mischievously. Don't wear long sweaters or baggy jeans anymore. She has a beautiful figure. Especially her full bust that she keeps covering up. Try wearing a tight dress. Hannah widened her eyes in shock and embarrassment. But then, when she looked into Liam's sincere eyes, she burst out laughing. Oh my God. You really know how to make people blush. I'm serious, Liam emphasized. You should be confident. You're not just a caregiver. You're also a very attractive woman. Hannah smiled lightly, but deep inside, Liam's words planted a small seed in her heart. How long had it been since she heard someone compliment her like that? How long had it been since she saw herself as a real woman? The weekend came sooner than Hannah expected. That morning, she stood silently in front of the mirror, holding a turquoise dress she had bought years ago but never worn. The dress was a tight fit, highlighting her figure, especially her full bust and still slender waist. Hannah picked up the dress, hesitant, Liam's words echoed in her head. You have a beautiful figure. You should be more confident. Hannah chuckled. Just a few years ago, if someone had said that to her, she would have brushed it off. But hearing it from Liam, her favorite son, the words carried a strange weight. She decided to try it on. As the dress fitted her body, Hannah looked at herself in surprise. She didn't recognize herself. The woman in the mirror exuded femininity and elegance, a far cry from her usual casual look. Just then, Liam knocked on the door and walked in. He was stunned for a few seconds. Wow, Liam blurted out. Hannah, you look really beautiful. Hannah blushed, covering her chest with her hands out of habit. Don't joke around, Liam. I'm not joking. Liam shook his head, his voice serious. I think her old colleagues will definitely be surprised. You should be confident. Really? Hannah pursed her lips slightly. But inside, she found herself smiling genuinely. This feeling, the feeling of being recognized by someone, had been a long time since she had felt it. That evening, Liam drove Hannah to the small restaurant where the meeting was taking place. Before she got out of the car, Liam gently squeezed her hand. Just be yourself, Hannah. You did a great job. Hannah nodded, took a deep breath, and walked in. While waiting for her stepmother, Liam drove to a nearby coffee shop, scrolling through his phone to kill time. But his mind was absent-minded, thinking about Hannah's image just now. He realized that over the years, Hannah had quietly played the role of a mother, a nanny, a companion, but had never been herself. Perhaps, because she was so used to that role, she forgot that she also had the right to live as a woman, to be beautiful, to be loved, to dream. 2 hours later, Hannah returned to the car. She looked tired, but her eyes were strangely sparkling. How was the meeting? Liam asked curiously. Hannah smiled lightly. It's fine. Everyone was surprised to see her change like that. But, she realized that, perhaps, she was no longer suitable for that kind of conversation. Liam tilted his head. Are you not happy? Hannah shook her head, her eyes looking at Liam gently. Not really. She just felt, being with her child, talking, cooking, watching movies with her child, were still the moments that made her feel most like herself. Liam was silent. A warm feeling mixed with guilt rose in his heart. Perhaps, it was him who made her never think about remarrying. But it was also him, from now on, who wanted to help her live for herself a little more. After meeting her old colleagues, Hannah seemed to have changed a bit. She was no longer the woman who always chose long sweaters or loose jeans. She started to pay more attention to her appearance. Soft dresses and elegant blouses appeared more often in her wardrobe. Hannah also no longer unconsciously hid her figure. Liam realized that and could not hide his joy. He often cleverly complimented his stepmother whenever she dressed up. This color really suits you. It makes you look much younger. Really, I think you should wear it more often. At first Hannah blushed in embarrassment. But gradually, she accepted those compliments more naturally. There was a confidence in her eyes that Liam had rarely seen before. Small changes led to a change in the relationship between the two. They spent more time together, not out of obligation or habit, but because they both wanted to. On summer evenings, after dinner, Liam and Hannah would sit on the back porch, sipping iced tea and talking. They talked about everything: school, Liam's college plans, new foods Hannah had learned, even romantic movies Hannah had loved when she was younger. Liam began to realize that Hannah had a younger soul than he thought. Behind the hard-working mother's appearance was a woman who had been adventurous, dreamy, and in love. One night, as they were laughing over a story Hannah told about high school, Liam stopped, his eyes growing deeper. Hannah, he said slowly, I really think you should try dating again. Hannah froze. The smile on her lips slowly faded, replaced by a look of surprise and confusion. Date? She repeated, her voice tinged with surprise. Liam, you know, she hadn't thought about it in years. Liam nodded, but didn't give up. I know, but she deserved to be happy in another way. She didn't have to be just Hannah, Liam's stepmother, forever. She could be Hannah, a woman with her own life. Hannah was silent for a long time. She looked out at the dark garden, where the streetlights shone through the leaves. creating blurry streaks of light. She let out a soft breath. You know, I used to think that as long as you lived well, I would be satisfied, but maybe you were right. Maybe she should open her heart a little more, not because she needed a man, but because she needed to know that she could still live as herself. Liam smiled, gently patting Hannah's hand. I'll help you, okay? Hannah smiled, her eyes gentle and warm as ever. Okay, Liam, if I had a child to accompany me, I would try. A week later, Liam made his move. He quietly searched through Willow Creek's community groups, where singles and widowers often went to make friends. Soon, he found a suitable candidate, Aaron Miller, 43, a gentle and mature town librarian. Aaron had been widowed 3 years ago and was living with his young daughter. When Liam introduced Aaron to Hannah, she almost wanted to run away. Liam, you're not kidding, are you? Are you serious? Hannah said, her voice both confused and embarrassed. I'm not kidding, Liam laughed. Aaron's a nice guy, no pressure, just a coffee date. If you don't like it, I won't push you anymore. Hannah hesitated, but then, Liam's encouraging and expectant gaze made it impossible for her to refuse. Finally, she sighed. Okay, but I'm going only for you. On the morning of the appointment, Hannah stood in front of the wardrobe for a long time. The blue dress from the day before seemed to give her a little confidence. She chose it, combined with a thin cream-colored cardigan. Hannah lightly tied her hair up, revealing her slender neck. In the mirror, the woman smiling gently made her a little surprised. Liam, standing outside the door, knocked lightly. Hannah, are you ready? When the door opened, Liam took a step back in surprise. You're really beautiful. Hannah blushed, but her smile was very comfortable. Thank you, Liam. I'll try not to disappoint you. Liam drove her to a small cafe near Willow Creek Center. Before getting out of the car, Hannah hesitated. She still felt a little nervous. Liam squeezed her hand tightly. Just be yourself. Everything else, let it be. Hannah nodded, took a deep breath, and walked into the bar, leaving Liam standing outside in the car watching. The date went exactly as Hannah had imagined, or maybe even more smoothly. Aaron was nice. He spoke in a low-key way, listening more than talking. They shared books, movies, their years as single parents. Hannah felt comfortable. There was no awkwardness or pressure to impress. But at the same time, no sparks flew. When the date ended, Aaron politely suggested, "If you want, we can meet again." Hannah smiled, politely declining. "I don't think I'm ready for that yet." Aaron nodded, not upset or reluctant. It was a simple closure. Back in the car, Liam almost rushed over to ask, "How is it? Are you okay?" Hannah smiled, her eyes shining with calmness. "It's okay. Aaron is a good person." But she realized one thing. What is it? Hannah turned to look at Liam, her eyes gentle as a cool stream. She didn't need anyone else to feel complete. Just having you, just being able to live every day, cook, laugh and talk with you, she was happy enough. Liam was silent. He couldn't say a word. At that moment, the two of them, not blood-related, became closer than ever. Hannah's love for him had surpassed all normal limits. And Liam understood that from now on, he would always be by her side, not out of obligation, but out of deep love and gratitude. The days after her date with Aaron passed more smoothly than Hannah had expected. She didn't feel disappointed or regretful for refusing to continue the relationship. On the contrary, Hannah felt strangely calm, perhaps because she herself had the answer to what Liam had always wanted her to realize. She didn't need anyone else to complete her life. On a Sunday morning, the sunlight flooded the familiar kitchen. Liam was preparing breakfast, a rare occurrence. He was busy with eggs and toast, while Hannah sat at the counter, arms crossed, looking at her son with a look that was both amused and proud. "Is there anything special?" Hannah asked, tilting her head. Liam shrugged, trying to look mysterious. "Nothing, I just wanted you to rest a bit." Hannah didn't quite believe it, but didn't ask any more. Breakfast passed in a light laughter. The two talked about Liam's school, about his upcoming college, about his plans for the future. It wasn't until Liam finished cleaning up that he sat down across from Hannah. His eyes more serious than usual. "Hannah," he started, "can I ask you something?" "Of course," Hannah replied. Liam hesitated a bit and then said, "When you said you didn't need anyone else, were you truly happy?" Hannah paused. She rested her elbows on the table, resting her chin in thought. "Liam, happiness doesn't always have to come from big things. For me, happiness is waking up early to cook breakfast for you, listening to you talk about your day at school, laughing with you while watching movies." Hannah paused. Her eyes softened. "And most importantly, knowing that you still need me in your life." Liam was silent. He felt every word Hannah said sink into his heart. Her love was not a demanding or possessive love. It was unconditional, steadfast, as gentle as breathing every day. That afternoon, Liam walked alone to the backyard, where the old swing still swayed in the wind. He sat down, looking up at the deep blue sky. For the first time, Liam understood that the relationship between him and Hannah went beyond what people often called stepmother, stepchild. She was his mother, not by birth certificate, not by blood, but by sacrifice and love over the past 10 years. He thought to himself, maybe Aaron or any other man could not give Hannah the feeling of completeness like this little family. Liam clenched his hands, deciding that he would do everything to make Hannah feel that, to him, she would forever be an indispensable part. A few days after that deep conversation, Liam started planning. He wanted to do something special for Hannah, not because she asked him or expected him to, but because he felt the need to show his gratitude. After school, Liam surfed the internet for ideas. The website suggested everything from simple picnics to fancy dinners, but none of them were authentic enough to their simple and warm relationship. Finally, Liam decided on his own way, a Hannah Day. No parties, no guests, just a day where Hannah did nothing but relax and enjoy the company of her loved ones. On Saturday morning, as Hannah was busy preparing breakfast as usual, Liam walked into the kitchen with a bright smile. "Stop it, Hannah. Today is your day." Hannah looked up, surprised. "Your day? What do you mean?" Liam walked over and gently pushed Hannah out of the kitchen. "Just sit back, relax, and let me do everything. No more work, okay?" Hannah laughed out loud, both embarrassed and touched. "You make me feel like a guest." "Not a guest, a queen," Liam teased, making her laugh. That morning, Liam prepared a simple but thoughtful breakfast: pancakes, fresh fruit, and fragrant coffee. Hannah sat at the table, watching Liam busily working, her heart filled with emotion. This was the first time in years that she had truly had a vacation. After breakfast, Liam took her out to the backyard. A clean couch was set up, along with a soft blanket and a few of Hannah's favorite books. "Spend the morning reading. I'll take care of everything else," Liam said. Hannah sat down, picked up the familiar book but couldn't concentrate. Her eyes sparkled every time she saw Liam watering the plants, mowing the lawn, and occasionally turning to smile at her. In the afternoon, Liam was even more surprised when he pulled Hannah into the kitchen. "Now it's my turn to cook lunch. You can't touch anything," he emphasized. Hannah could only stand there and smile as she watched Liam fiddle with the ingredients. Although he was a bit clumsy, he still persevered in making her favorite pasta. When she sat down at the table, Hannah held her chopsticks with her eyes stinging. "Liam, you don't have to do all of this." Liam looked at her, more serious than usual. "No, I want to do it. I've spent my whole youth taking care of you. Now, it's my turn to do something for you." The atmosphere suddenly became heavy. Hannah put her hand on the table, gently holding Liam's hand. "Thank you, Liam. You always make me feel like I'm never alone." Liam smiled, his eyes sincere. "Because you never let me be alone. So, you are the most deserving person in this world to be loved." It was getting dark after a cozy dinner. The house was bathed in the soft light from the living room lamp and the pleasant scent of the beeswax candles Hannah often burned in the evening. Liam and Hannah sat on the sofa. A soft quilt was draped over their laps, and a light family movie was playing on the television screen. Neither of them was really paying attention to the movie. They just quietly enjoyed the peace, something that perhaps only those who had experienced deep loss could truly appreciate. Hannah suddenly spoke, her voice as light as a breeze. Today was great. She had forgotten what it felt like to be cared for by someone else. Liam turned, tilting his head. You deserve it, not just today, Hannah, every day. Hannah smiled, but her smile contained something melancholy. She tightened her grip on the blanket, her eyes fixed on the ceiling, where the ceiling fan was spinning slowly. Liam, she began, her voice low. Sometimes she wondered if she had made the right choice. Liam was silent, listening. When Mark died, she had the chance to leave. No one forced her to stay and raise her husband's children. But she chose to stay. For years, she had never regretted it. But there were times, she wondered if she had missed her chance to live her own life. Liam sat up straight, his eyes wide. Hannah turned to her, her eyes sparkling but not weak. But then, every day she watched her child grow up, heard her child call her name, got through the difficult days with her child. All that made her understand that. Hannah paused, her eyes slightly moist. This was her life, not what she lost, but what she chose. Liam couldn't help it anymore. He reached out and hugged Hannah tightly. She didn't resist. Instead, she leaned her head on Liam's shoulder, letting the warm tears fall. Thank you, Hannah, Liam whispered, his voice choked. If it weren't for you, I would never have had a real family. Hannah held Liam tighter. In that moment, all boundaries, all distances, all titles disappeared. No more stepmother, stepchild. There was only a mother and a child, bound by choice and unconditional love. That night, when Liam had gone back to his room, Hannah sat alone by the window. Outside, the gentle wind shook the trees, creating a gentle lullaby. She thought about Mark, about the short years they had together. She knew that, somewhere, Mark was smiling too, proud that she had continued to live, to love, not in the way of finding someone new, but in the way of giving her all to the son they had raised together. Hannah closed her eyes, and for the first time in years, she truly felt complete. The years passed quietly like a gentle river flowing around Willow Creek. Liam was now a grown man. After graduating from college, he returned to town, opened a small office, and married Claire, his longtime girlfriend. Claire was gentle and understanding, and quickly integrated into the warm atmosphere that Hannah created in the house. Soon, Liam's small family welcomed a new member, Lucas, a handsome boy with emerald green eyes inherited from his mother. Hannah, in her 50s, became Grandma Hannah, a model grandmother who always prepared chocolate chip cookies and fairy tales for Lucas whenever he came to visit. One early autumn afternoon, when the maple leaves were red all over the path, Liam's family went to the small cemetery north of town. It was the 15th anniversary of Mark's death. Lucas trotted around, holding a small bouquet of flowers, while Liam and Claire adjusted the wilted flowers on the gravestone. Hannah stood silently in front of the tombstone with Mark's name on it. She was no longer young. Wrinkles were visible at the corners of her eyes, but her appearance was still elegant and gentle. Liam walked to her side, placing his hand on her shoulder. I always wondered, if Dad were still alive, what would he think of our family now? Hannah smiled softly, her eyes looking up at the sky filled with drifting white clouds. She believed Mark would be very proud, because you grew up strong and kind, and because she didn't give up. Liam looked at his mother, his eyes filled with tears. Claire quietly pulled Lucas closer, reminding him to keep quiet. Lucas looked up at Hannah and asked innocently, "Grandma, is this Grandpa?" Hannah bent down, gently stroking Lucas's hair. "Yes, my love, he used to be a wonderful person." Liam sat down next to his son, his voice warm. "And Hannah is the one who loved Dad more than anyone. She didn't give birth to Dad, but she raised Dad with all her love and sacrifice. Thanks to her, Dad is who he is today." Lucas's eyes widened, seemingly not understanding, but he nodded obediently. "I love Hannah too." The whole family laughed softly. Hannah wiped the corner of her eyes, whispering softly, "Just that is enough." The sun gradually disappeared behind the trees. The sunset dyed the Willow Creek sky red. Liam's family gathered and left the cemetery, leaving two graves lying next to each other, Mark Walker and Hannah Walker. No matter how long life continues, no matter how generations change, Hannah's love for Liam and this small family will always be there. No need for blood. No need for status. Simply, unconditional love. 10 years after Hannah's death, Willow Creek is still the same. The cobblestone streets are still peaceful under the canopy of old maple trees. The hills still change with the seasons, green in the spring, golden in the fall, and white in the winter. In the familiar wooden house nestled behind a white picket fence, the laughter of children can be heard. Lucas, now a 13-year-old teenager, is playing soccer with his 6-year-old brother, Finn. On the porch, Claire sits reading a book, occasionally looking up to smile at her children. Liam, now 35, is pruning trees in the garden. His hair is streaked with silver, but his smile is as gentle as ever. Deep in the house, there is a small shelf hanging solemnly in the living room. On it, a framed photo of Hannah Walker sits next to an off-white urn. Below the photo was an inscription: "The mother who didn't give birth to us, but taught us how to love." Liam sometimes stood silently in front of the photo. There were days when he told his children stories right there, about Hannah, about movie nights, about the time she cooked dinner and how she made everything warm even with her gentle smile. Lucas once asked, "Dad, is Hannah like other grandmothers?" Liam smiled, pulling Lucas to sit on his lap. "Maybe not exactly, but to Dad, she was the best mother. She chose to love Dad, raise him, give him a home, love without reason or conditions. You know, Grandma once said, just seeing Dad happy, she was satisfied." Lucas fell silent, then whispered, "I wish I could meet her." Liam leaned down and kissed his son's hair. "She's always here, in my heart, and now, in yours, too." Every year, on the anniversary of Hannah's death, Liam's family still kept the habit of going to the small cemetery in the north of town. There, two gravestones were placed side by side, Mark Walker and Hannah Walker, like two lifelong friends who would never be apart again. This year was no different. Claire prepared a bouquet of white carnations, Hannah's favorite flower. Lucas and Finn each carried a picture of her. On the way, Lucas muttered a reminder to his brother: "Be polite." Hannah loved polite children. When the whole family stood in front of the grave, Liam sat down and gently wiped the dust from the stone. "Hello, Hannah," Liam said in a deep voice. "We're here to see you." Lucas and Finn placed the picture and flowers next to the stone. Claire silently held Liam's hand, her eyes soft as if they spoke 1,000 words. No one said anything else. Only the gentle wind blew, rustling the old trees, but they all felt something warm, enveloping them, as if Hannah were smiling down on each of them. That afternoon, on their way back from the cemetery, the family stopped at the town's central park, a large lawn where Lucas and Finn often played after school. Liam sat on a bench, watching the two children playing. Claire sat next to him, her hand gently resting on her husband's shoulder. "I've always admired the way you and Hannah bonded together," Claire said softly. Liam smiled softly, his eyes never leaving the two children. "She taught me so much. That family isn't just about those who share the same blood, but those who choose to stay together for each other." Claire nodded, squeezing Liam's hand gently. "You brought that into our own little family. I'm truly grateful to Hannah, because without her, I probably wouldn't have become the man I am today." Liam was silent, but in his heart, Claire's every word seemed to echo deep into his heart. When the sun set, they returned to the old house. Hannah was no longer there, but the place still held all the memories. On the dining table, her picture was still there. Lucas ran over, sat down opposite the picture, and rested his chin in his hands, thinking. "Dad," the boy called out from the dining room. "I think I understand." Liam walked in, smiling. "Understand what, son?" Lucas turned around, his blue eyes shining with a maturity rarely seen at 13. "Hannah was like light. Even though she was no longer here, that light still illuminated our house every day." Liam was stunned. In that moment, he saw himself as a child, sitting quietly like that, wondering if Hannah would forever be a part of his life. Now, he He knew the answer. And Lucas, his son, understood it in his own way. "That's right, Lucas," Liam replied, his voice choked. "That light will never go out, because it has become a part of our family." Lucas smiled brightly, turning to Finn. "Then from now on we must always live well. To make Hannah proud. Do you agree?" Finn nodded vigorously. "Yes." Claire came from the kitchen and helped Mom set the table too. Laughter echoed throughout the house. Liam looked up at the ceiling, where the ceiling fan was still spinning slowly like the old days when Hannah used to sit there reading. He closed his eyes, as if he could hear her voice, still soft and gentle. "As long as you guys are happy, I'm happy enough." Night fell over Willow Creek, covering the small town in a soft blanket of darkness and warm yellow lights. In that familiar house, the love that Hannah had nurtured continued to spread. Through each generation, each breath. It was not a loud love, nor did it need vows. It was quiet, enduring, and eternal, just like the person Hannah had lived. And then, in the future, when Lucas, Finn, or anyone else tells the story of Grandma Hannah, they will not only tell the story of the woman who raised a child to be a good person. They will tell the story of the woman who taught them how to choose love, and each other, to be family forever. Hannah has left, but her love lives on through each generation, each peaceful moment in the small house in Willow Creek. And then, as stories about her continue to be told, that love will continue to spread, quiet, eternal. Thank you for staying with me until the end. See you in the next stories. We have many wonderful journeys ahead.